Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Amaka. In this tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make this simple top you're seeing on the thumbnail. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever I upload new videos. So let's get started. So this is the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial. Now this fabric is stretchy. So because this fabric is stretchy, I'm not going to add that to it, and I'm not going to add seam allowance. So I'm going to start by drafting on my pattern paper, then after which I'm going to transfer it to the fabric. You know the fabric is white, so I don't want to draft on the fabric. So I'm going to start by taking my vertical measurement. So from this starting point, I'm going to take my bust point measurement, which is 11 inches. My waist point is 16 inches, and the full length of this top is 22 inches plus 1 inch hemming allowance. So I'm extending the points, and I'm going to connect the points with horizontal lines. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my neck measurement. So the front neck width is 5 inches and the front neck depth is 3 inches. The back neck width is also 5 inches and the back neck depth is 1 inch. And I'll connect the points. Now take note, I'm drafting the front panel and the back panel together. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 15 inches. 15 divided by 2 gives you 7.5 inches plus half inch seam allowance, which gives you 8 inches. Now from this 8 inches point, I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and I'll connect it to the neckline. So from this point, I'm going to impute my armhole depth. Now for you to impute your armhole depth, you're going to divide your bust circumference by 6, and whatever it gives you, you will add 1.5 inches to it. Now in my own case, my armhole depth is 7.8 inches, and I'll connect this point to this point. But before I do that, I'm going to check what I have here. Now this 8 inches I have here, I'm going to bring it down here, and I'll connect this point to this point. So I'm going to extend this point to this point. So this is my chest point. Now let me label these lines. This is my chest point, my bust point, my waist point, the full length of this top, and my hemming allowance. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. Now this is the midpoint of this line. Now from this midpoint, I'm going to come in by half inch. While on my chest point, I'm going to take my bust measurement on my chest point. Now my bust circumference divided by 4 gives you 9.5 inches, and I'll connect the points. So the next thing I'm going to do is to extend the shoulder line. Now this shoulder line, I'm going to extend it by 3.5 inches. Now this is optional. You can use 4 inches, you can also use 3 inches depending on how long you want your sleeve to be. So I'm using 3.5 inches, and I'll connect this point to the shoulder line. Now I'm working with this line. You see how I placed my ruler on this line, and I'm going to connect the points. Now from this point, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches and I'll mark. While from this point, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. And I'm going to connect this point to this point, just like you see me doing. So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this point to this point, just like this. You see how I placed my ruler? So I'll connect the points. Now, this point is not supposed to be sharp, so I'm going to blend it. So I'm going to take my bust measurement. Now I've already taken my bust measurement on the chest point. Now my bust circumference divided by 4 gives you 9.5 inches. On the waist point, I'm going to take my waist measurement on the waist point. My waist circumference divided by 4 gives you 7 3/4. So I'm going to mark 7 3/4 here. While on the full length, I'm going to take my hip measurement on the full length. My hip circumference divided by 4 gives you 10 inches. So I'm going to mark 10 inches here, and I'll also mark 10 inches on the hemline. And I'll connect the points. Now on this hemming allowance, I'm going to come up by 1/2 inch and I'll connect it to this point. Now this part is no longer useful to me. I'm going to cut it off. Now I'm going to start by cutting the back. Remember that I told you that I have the front panel and the back panel here. So I'm going to start by cutting the back. So I'm going to use this to cut the back first. So now I'm going to cut the back. Now take note, this fabric is on fold. The back panel is on fold. You might be wondering why I didn't add seam allowance to the fabric. Now I didn't add seam allowance because the fabric is already stretchy. It doesn't need seam allowance. Now I'm going to remove the back panel and I'll use this same paper to cut the front. So now I'm going to cut the front, and take note, my fabric is on fold. The front panel is also on fold. So this is my top. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to place the back panel on the front panel, right side facing right side, and I'll sew. I'll take it to my sewing machine and I'll sew. I'm going to start by sewing the shoulder. So I'm going to join the shoulder with 1/2 inch seam allowance. After joining the shoulder, I'll sew the sides. I'll join the sides. After that, I'll use bias tape to hem the armhole and the neckline. So I'm going to do all the things I just said and show you the outcome. Now after sewing, this is what I have. I started by joining the shoulders. After joining the shoulders, I joined the sides. After that, I used bias to hem the neckline and the armhole and also the lower part. Now this top is very easy to make. You can make it in less than 1 hour. So that's just it with this tutorial. If you found this tutorial helpful, please click on the like button. Share this video with your friends. Share this video in your sewing groups. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Feel free to ask questions. I'll be in the comment section to answer all your questions. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching.